I got money on my mind. I'm just trying to get some dough. I ain't picking up my line unless it's money on the phone.
Welcome everybody to another episode of the Black Wealth Renaissance Podcast. Your boy David Bellard, 1/4 of the Black Wealth Renaissance. Checking in my co-hosts, fellas. How y'all feeling?
What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Jalen, man. Another quarter of the Black Earth Renaissance. Feeling good, feeling great, man. We back at it again, man.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Kelly here, checking in on this lovely Saturday. Feeling good, feeling great. How you doing over there, Jared?
Man, I'm chilling, man. I'm feeling good. You know, rejuvenated, shook back a little bit, got to sleep in today.
I was just about to ask, so you off for work, man?
Yeah, I'm off today.
Hey.
Doing pretty good. Got ranked pretty high for sales this past month, man. I'm excited. I'm feeling good.
Hey,
I'm ready
man.
to get into this podcast.
Hey, man. Congratulations to you, my brother. Like you said, I'm ready to get in this podcast, man. We got a very, very special brother on this episode with us today.
Yes,
but before
sir.
I introduce our guest, I have to ask everybody real quick, can y'all please like, subscribe, rate to our channel, our podcast on whatever platform you on, leave a review.
Yeah.
That type of stuff helps us grow. We want to make sure we spread this information to as many people as possible. Now, with that being said, guys, to introduce my guest, it's so much to say about this brother. So he went from the prison yard to the yard in Harvard, got a fellowship out of Harvard Law School. It then took his skills from being in the streets and started helping businesses, individuals, and everybody turn their problems into solutions with his transformational programs. My man is out here helping people recondition their life after they've been in the prison system with his Academy of Hope. I got to introduce my brother, Mr. Andre Norman. Andre, how you living, bro?
Hit it. I don't know side effects. It's a pleasure being here. I appreciate the invitation. Always willing to have time, man, and come share knowledge with the folks.
Thank you so much for
appreciate
being
it,
here.
man.
Yes, sir. So I'll let you take it.
Yeah,
up.
man. We've been having a great conversation offset, man. And we'll really just get into it. I know David just kind of, glanced over your resume and stuff like that. But for the people who are not familiar with you, people who just tapping into our listenership and our podcast, can you just introduce them into Andre Norman and how you got started on your journey?
Okay. Name's Andre Norman from Boston, Massachusetts. Grew up in poverty, as we would say, as people describe us. Dysfunction, craziness, public schools, failing out, couldn't read until the 3rd grade, got into the streets, tried to buy the stuff that I wanted because my family couldn't afford it. And even though I started out, my first crime was stealing candy from the corner store. And it just kept going. To now I'm selling weed in the park, to now I'm in penitentiary with a ton of time. When I first get to the penitentiary, it was a reunion of all my friends from the dummy class, all my friends from the principal's office, all my friends from juvie. They were all there. And they were like, yo, Dre, what took you so long? We knew you were coming. So I got in with my homies day one. And I'm out on the bass. I used to hoop. So I'm out on the court hooping, having a good time. I'm with my friends. These are all my friends from elementary. These are all my friends from middle school and high school. These are my bands. So I'm like in a good company of people. I'm just in a penitentiary. And for the first 6 years, I fed into that life. I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be ranked. I wanted status. I wanted respect. I wanted all the mythical stuff that we chase after. Then after I got it, I realized something. I'm the king of nowhere. I got all the status you can dream of. I've done all the stuff that you can think of. Now I'm the king of nowhere. And I realized that I didn't want to be the king of nowhere. So I came up with a plan that I wanted to be successful and not the king of nowhere. So I said, I need to go home, go to college. So I picked Harvard University as my destination. Taught myself to read, taught myself the law, went to anger management, went through all the stuff I had to go through, flipped one of my cases on appeal. And for the next 8 years, 20 hours a day, I worked on getting out of prison. And once I got out, November 15th, 99, I went from the prison to the parole office to a youth center. I did my first session with a bunch of young Black boys telling them why they were going to jail. And it was based on trauma, not based on circumstance. And I started doing trauma-informed care 90 minutes after I got out. And I started working in the inner cities, doing programs, writing grants, and we raised about $25 million my first 4 years. We created the violence interrupter model, which are ex-offenders leading the movement. We created the Office of Faith-Based Community Initiatives that we signed into law with George Bush. We just started creating programs. I teamed up with a bunch of people from Harvard, and they had the technical skills. I had the lived experience, and we merged them. And that merger created stuff that had never been done before. or packaged before. I'm saying it was always like the $1 million mousetrap that didn't work, or this was a great way to do it, but nobody heard it. But when we merged it together, we went global. And I spent the first 4 years with that agency. I left there and I went on my own. So I had a chance to work with Janet Reno when she was Attorney General, Ted Kennedy when he was Senator, all those folks. I moved into my own space and I started working for myself. Working for other people is great. Working for yourself is better. And I started working for myself. And I got a contract with London Business School. So now I'm training all their people. Deutsche Bank, Denham Foods, Lens Construction, British Petroleum. I go down the list for hours. And I just started moving around the world. Now I'm a motivational speaker. I'm getting $10,000 a speech. I'm in Saudi Arabia. I'm in Australia. I'm in Germany. I'm all over the world just having a great time. Then somebody called me and said, hey, Dre, we need your help over here. I would go back and always go back and help people who came from where I came from. Now go into the cities and different places and help folks. Then I got my fellowship at Harvard Law School in 2016 under Charles Ogletree. That was like for me, in 1991, I said it. In 2016, it happened. Now, I've given multiple speeches on campus at Harvard from 2000 to 2016, but it was just a guest speaker. In 2016, when I got my email that said anorman.edu.harvard, it was over. It was over. And I wake up and I ask myself one question. What can I do to be helpful? That's my guiding post for the day. So when I got up this morning, I said, what can I do to be helpful? And this podcast is going to be one of them, but this won't end my day. And I go throughout my day asking myself that question. What can I do to be helpful? And it's generally to somebody else. I need to help myself. And 2 years ago, there was a riot in prison in South Carolina. 7 men were murdered, 30 were wounded. And the director of programs reached out to me. And she asked me to come to South Carolina. I said, lady, I got a business. And I am like in high demand. I'm in scheduled, booked all the way out through the next 6 months. I ain't got time. And she asked me, where's your commitment to the people? That's what my whole schedule. Got on a plane, took the homies. We flew to South Carolina. The entire prison system had locked out for 5 months. We went through 10 prisons in 6 days, spoke to 8,000 prisoners. And we let them all out their cells for the first time. There was no fights, no riots, no retaliation. Wow. And the director, Brian Sterling, asked, could we come back and run a program? So we came back, and having been a boss myself and had bosses with me on my team, I don't surround myself with weak people. That's one of the corniest things ever. They have a bunch of yes men. And we went in there, and for the last 2 years, we've run the Academy whole program that we created for South Carolina. Got all the top gang leaders, influencers, bosses we could, put them in one unit. And over the course of 2 years, we've had one fight. Really a COVID fight. They were arguing over something popped off over COVID. But the baseline, we went from 7 murders to none. We went from fights every day to none. Use of force every other minute to none. You know what I'm saying? Because when you treat people like people, they respond like people. You treat people like animals, they respond like animals. So we went in there and just talked to them like men. And we understand, I'm not here to adopt you. I can't guarantee you're going to get out. But I'm going to show you how you can be the greater version of yourself. And they accepted the challenge and they've risen to it. And 2 years in, they're going, I got a letter here on my desk someplace from the UN asking my guys to come to the UN and help them with, I got it here somewhere. I'll find it before we leave here and I'll show it to you. The UN, this is from the United Nations, asking the Academy of Hope and our men to support them in teaching young people in the Middle East not to join jihadist movements and blow up stuff. So they're not only helping with inside the prison walls make it better, they're helping the world be better. One of these young men that they're going to convince not to join Al-Qaeda's group and blow up some shit might blow up the next something in the United States. That's the value that these men have. Being incarcerated, having been criminals, having been convicted, does not stop their value as people. So regardless what circumstance you're in, as a person, you hold immense value. So never let your circumstance dictate your ability to impact the world.
Hey, man, that's a powerful, powerful intro. And I jotted some stuff down there. I know for sure I want to get into a few things.
Yeah. Before we go into anything, I just kind of want to walk it back, man, because like my brother said, that's a very powerful story. Just like There's so much in there to go into, but I kind of want to take it back to you learning these skills that made all this possible. Because, like, you said something in there where you were talking about, like, whenever you realized you were the king of nothing, but like you had learned all these different skills and stuff, you felt like even though you were the king of nothing, you still knew a lot. You knew a bunch, and you took that and turned it into this. So I kind of want to just speak to like how that process worked out, like in creating those programs and like helping you reform, like create these reform programs and turn it into like your passions into a business.
What happens is the things that you've been through. If you've had a drinking problem and you've gotten past it, you're the number one person to coach someone else with a drinking problem. If you're a lawyer, guess who you're going to train? Future lawyers. Guess who trained police? Current police. So everybody has that person down the line in front of them. So every judge, every lawyer, every doctor, every whoever is trained by somebody who's currently in that space. So I was in the criminal justice space as a criminal. And it's a $50 billion a year prison program for the United States. The criminal justice system is $275 billion. They pour in police, courts, and prisons to manage this. And none of the people they're pouring money into have been in prison.
Wow.
But they're all governing it. The police ain't never technically committed a crime. The judge ain't committed a crime. The warden ain't committing crimes, but they're all managing people who've committed crimes. They're all managing people who have a completely different mindset from them. If you drop me in the middle of Bangladesh and talking about, yo, Dre, inspire somebody, I know what these people been through. I don't know what their daily life is like. So their task has never been to fix the problem. All the people that they've hired, nice people or not, have been hired to manage the problem. That's why the problem is not getting smaller, it's getting bigger and it's getting worse. Because none of, or most of, the people hired are not there to fix it. They're there to manage it. That's why shootings in Chicago are out of control. That's why shootings in New Orleans are out of control. That's why robberies and all this stuff is out of control, because nobody's trying to fix the problem. They're only trying to manage the problem.
And even on the managing the problem part, I kind of want to go a little bit further back. Whenever you said, it felt like a reunion for you with all of your homies and everybody who was there before. And, you said they were like, we knew you was coming. It was just, when was it? I wanted to know, how was your mentality then? Because you also said another thing that whenever you got out, you started teaching people, it's trauma versus circumstance. So I kind of want to talk to you about that trauma that was created for you and your peers to make you feel like, hey, jail is a place for us to thrive and actually have this type of fun.
It's not so much a place to thrive. Wherever you put me, I'm going to be me. If you put me in a prison cell, I'm still Andre. I still tell jokes. I used to rap. I used to dance. I used to hoop. So wherever you put me, you take LeBron James out of LA, stick him in Australia, he's going to find a basketball. Nobody's going to wonder why. You take him, you move him down to Argentina, he's going to find a basketball. Take Dave Chappelle, put him in North China, he's going to find the microphone, he's going to tell some jokes. That's what he does. The environment doesn't change who you are internally. You can take Minister Farrakhan and put him anywhere, and he's going to speak truth to light. That's just what he does. You can take Al Sharpton and put him anywhere, he's going to bullshit somebody. Because that's just what he does. You know what I'm saying? Everybody does what they do. And so you put us all in a building. I was a criminal, so you stuck me in a building with a bunch of criminals. I want to keep being a criminal. I didn't just stop. Walking through that gate didn't change me. It just changed where I do what I do. I used to do it in the street. Now I do it behind the wall.
After those 6 years, what was that thing that clicked in your head that made you say, you know what? I'm not a criminal. Like, my life is greater than that. So what made you say, okay, I want to be a better version of myself?
My goal was to be the number one gangster in the system. That was my goal. And I was fighting and stabbing and fighting and riots on airplanes. I've been shipped to 9 different states. I've been through it. So I went from the state system, she put me in the federal system, 9 different penitentiaries in the feds, sent me back to the state, caught some more cases. They put me in county jails. I've been over the map. I've been tortured, chained to beds, chained to floors, force medicated. I done been there, done that. Strapped up, knives in my hand, fighting, done, you name it and done it. Years in basement cells with no sunlight, locked in the cell. I've been left not fed for 4 days. I'm not crying. This is the life that I subscribed to. This is the life I signed up for. And it was all in quest to become that number one guy. But when I got to the threshold where I had the opportunity to, in theory, become this mythical number one guy, because it's all fake, but in my mind it's real, I saw it for what it was. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Dorothy and her team land in Oz and they marching down the road. And they finally get to Oz, they pull the curtain back and they see it's all fake. But mind you, even though they saw it's all fake, everybody else in Oz is chill. Everybody in Oz is okay. There's nobody in Oz upset about being in Oz. They accepted it living in the middle of a fantasy. Dorothy thought that she can get to the end and get out of fantasy. Then she realized she couldn't. That wasn't the way. I'm in this fantasy world of masculinity and toughness and gangsterism, all this stuff that they gave us. When I got to my end of the road and I pulled the curtain back and it was my turn to jump into the wizard's chair, I saw it for what it was. It was all fake. Now, there's money attached, yes. There's status attached, yes. But it's a fake world, dude. We're locked in cages. We're kept without sunlight, away from our families, away from popularity. We have nothing. We're in complete control. And I said to myself, Dre, if you the boss, let yourself out of here. If you the boss, for real, let yourself out. That's what you truly want. And I got this little CO with 150 pounds that I bully every day. I got the other COs that I be bullying every day. I said, man, they go home every day though. Yeah, you chump him, disrespect him, make him do things, but he go home at the end of the day. So whatever I think of him is irrelevant. He gets to go home. So who's really the boss? I said, dude, if you the boss, let yourself out. And I'll say this to any dude in the penitentiary across the world. If you the boss, let yourself out. And when you can't do that one thing, then that tells you you're not truly the boss. You're just managing a space that they left you in. You've convinced yourself, like the rest of the people in Oz, that I'm going to make the best of a bad situation.
That's really powerful. That was the thinking that had you, okay, man, I done all of this shit. I done everything that I thought I had to do to really become that dude, that number one person. But once you got there and you knew that I can't control whether I leave this fence or not, this don't mean shit.
It's like you said earlier, it almost the whole system is like people managing the problem versus trying to actually fix the problem. And I'm glad that's where you came in with what you do. So with that process of you, like after you realized it, how did you begin that process of like educating yourself and like changing your daily habits?
First thing, I didn't change my habits. My habits were fine. What I was spending my time was the problem. I mean, I'm intelligent, I'm insightful, I'm resourceful, I'm dedicated, I put in hours. That's all good. I just need to put it towards something else. So my thing was, I had to tell myself the truth because I've been lying to myself that I was winning. You come see me in the penitentiary. How you doing? I'm doing good. I got this. Never once did I say I shouldn't be here. I don't want to be here. This sucks. I thought I was doing good. My mother came to see me one time. I'm talking about all this madness. And she's like, I done lost my son. Because I didn't 100% bought into this world. And I'm not talking about the trumpet. I'm not talking about my siblings. I'm talking about hustling. I'm talking about status. She looked at me like I done lost my mind. I'm locked in a cell 24 hours a day. I only come out with handcuffs and waist chains on. I take a shower 3 times a week, no sunlight. And I thought I was winning because I controlled some dope. I thought I was winning because I controlled some soldiers. I thought I was winning because I could chump the CO that goes home every day. And I had convinced myself that I was winning. You could not tell me I wasn't winning. Hush probably thought he was winning until they ran up on his ass last week. You could not convince him he wasn't winning, and he was. But the baseline was, I thought I was winning, and I told myself the lie I needed to tell myself to stay mentally awake. If I told myself the truth, I'd have broke down sooner, which would have led to a transformation sooner. I had to tell myself the truth. I'm Black. I'm uneducated. I'm a high school dropout. My family's dysfunctional. We really don't have real money. I'm technically homeless. I don't have a house or a lease. And I just went down a list of things that I am. I got anger problems. I got violent problems. I don't listen. You know what I'm saying? I'm a bully. I just listed it all.
Damn.
And after I listed it all, I could hang it on my wall and say, that's the stuff I need to fix. That's how to putting my energy towards, well, what can I fix? Then I put that, who I was, in correlation to my goal, going to Harvard. So I said, now what on that list is acceptable for Harvard? What do I need to change and fix to be able to be accepted into that space? And I started working on that list every single day. I got my GED. I went to anger management. I went to the law library. I started going to self-help groups. I started going to this group, and I started going to this group, and I went to that. Everything I could do to change that list that I had. I couldn't change the perception people had of me. That don't matter. But I could change what was really on that list, and I did. Then when I showed up to Harvard, I was received because they saw the man that I was, not the man that I used to be. And the first agreement I had at Harvard, I didn't stab anybody. I didn't punk nobody. Like, yo, we can take this outside. No, we can take this to the whiteboard. Whatever disagreement, let's go to the whiteboard and see who can really figure this out. Versus, yo, let's do these. This is all based on these.
That's easy. That's the easy part.
It's easy, but it's not a win. What are you really winning? So my new thing is, in every house I got, you see them? I got 2 whiteboards over there. Let's take it to the whiteboard. Let's take it to the whiteboard. I ain't taking it to the yard and smashing you. I ain't strapping up trying to kill you. I'll kill your ideas. I'll kill your philosophy. I'll shred anything you put on me, and saying on that board.
That's changed it all. Like you said, you became something that you transformed. You transformed through your actions, man. That's powerful, bro. Like, made me think about just even we talk about finances all the time, like in budgeting, and it's almost the same type of process. It's just you did it with your time.
It was a personal thing too.
Like looking at what I'm doing and how my character traits are, and saying that. I just think that's so powerful because like people always feel trapped in their situation, but what you did is how you get out.
You had to realize that a lot of my situation was, like you said, it was all on me.
It's self-awareness.
You buy into your situation and you perpetuate your situation. So if you're in a job that you hate, understand that you work at this place and you hate it, and you spend all your day hating the job and telling your friends how you hate the job. That's time consuming. Instead of hating the job and saying, okay, I hate my job, this is why. It doesn't pay me enough, doesn't give me enough status, don't get enough free time, I'm under someone else's control, I don't get credit, they own my IP. Why do you hate your job? Then where do I want to be? Because if you get that dream job, you're bringing that hateful person with you. And you're going to get fired. It wasn't about just arriving physically in Harvard. I had to arrive physically, mentally, spiritually ready to perform. A lot of people think if you just put me there, I'll be okay. No.
You gotta have it all. It's all got to be aligned.
I ask people all the time. I deal with male and females. I do counseling. You say, I can't find the best guy. I can't find the best girl. I said, if I gave you your dream person right now, if I could draft up your dream person, you write out what your dream person is. If they wrote their list out, would you be on their list? You're so focused on what's on your list. I want her she needs to be 5'7", she needs to be brown skin, she needs to be this size, needs to be this, needs to be a lawyer. If she wrote her list out, would you be on? So you can write your, don't really want to act right. No, you ain't acting. You gotta be what's on her list as well as what she's on, what's on your list. Stop being one-sided. You want the dream job, but you don't want to be the dream person. You want to be the dream CEO, but you don't want to be the dream hard-working person. It's just what you want, not what you're willing to give. Life gives to the giver.
You talked about going to the law library and working for. You said you studied for 8 years to get yourself out. Can you talk about that process?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get into, Kelly.
Most people are arrested, tried, and convicted, and most of us plead guilty. I went to trial on some of my cases, and the ones I went to trial on. This is the thing about criminal justice. At trial, when you're arrested, when they arrest you, it depends if they like you or not. The cop decides if he's actually going to arrest you or not. And we know white kids or other kids get breaks that we don't. So if you even get arrested, it's dependent upon the cop. Then once you're arrested, what he actually charges you with is, now we look at the capital situation. These people are being charged with trespassing. If the 5 of us had went into that Capitol and somebody died, you got a rule in South Carolina called the hand to one, the hand to all, or joint venture. What one did, you all did. But all of a sudden, the hand to one, hand to all doesn't apply in a capital raid. We're looking at the most serious offenders. Now, every time I seen a raid, the police surround the building and they lock up everybody inside.
Hell yeah.
So these people ran into the Capitol. By my understanding of the law that I experienced in my neighborhoods, when they come to that, the stormtroopers should have covered the back door, the front door, and every single person in that building, including the reporters, because you don't have the right to break into a house because you're doing news, should have been in handcuffs. Then you can sort the rest out later. You should not have to go look for anybody. This is simple. The law says whoever crosses the threshold of the Capitol is out of bounds, period. Once you cross through that door, if you was on the front steps, you're good. Once you cross through that threshold, you are officially trespassing, broken entering, or whatever you want to call it, and you are subject to whatever happens in there. You are part of the mob. What one does, they all do. But when it came to them, the law applied to them. Not one person I can think of was arrested in the building.
Nope.
They were all ushered back out. Now they're on TV looking for the more serious ones. Versus the law says whoever walked through that door is out of bounds. That's how they apply it to us. So who gets arrested is the first thing. If you get arrested, then when you do get arrested, what do they charge you with? Everybody should be, now I'm not advocating, but by law, they should all be charged with felony murder, joint venture. You're getting trespassing, you're getting this. They're hand-picking cases for people. With us, everybody gets a RICO until somebody starts telling. How do you think they get people to tell? Charge everybody with 1 million years. If I knew as the front dude on the corner, I'm facing 6 months, I'm good. When you tell that little dude who ain't got nothing, he's gonna get 100 years, he starts telling. That's how that works. The boss it's like RICO, everybody's going down in smoke. So how they charge you is different. Now, once you get to court, this is the thing about court. It's not who did it, it's who can tell the best lie. Whoever can tell the best lie at trial wins. It's not about guilt, it's who can tell the best lie.
Damn.
And on appeal, it's not about did you do it, it's about did they tell the best lie and follow the rules. That's criminal justice. From the time on the corner, the cop that picks you up, to the district attorney that charges you, to the trial hearing, to appeal. It's never really about did you do it.
It's about did they believe you did it?
Can they prove that you did it? How many people have you seen in the last 5 years released from prison? Oh, you didn't do it 37 years later. Oop, you didn't do it 10 years later. Oops, you didn't do it. So that means at trial,
they knew that shit.
Even if they didn't know, it's always, I'm not going to say they knew, at trial is who can tell the best lie. Because if you got 100 people released in the last 5 years who didn't do it, then evidently you got that shit wrong at trial, but you still convinced them. So whoever can tell the best lie at trial wins. Then when you get to appeal, the question is, did you tell the lie properly? Did you follow the procedures properly to tell the best lie? And oftentimes, a district attorney or a judge or DA or cop or somebody will do something human, which is called make a mistake. The question is, can you find the mistake that human made in your scenario? Did they not show your picture right? Did they not do this? Did they not do that? Did they not do this? They look for that. OJ, who can tell the best lie?
The glove don't fit, you must acquit.
Who can tell the best lie?
So
how about did you do it?
How did you apply that to your scenario, my brother?
I went to court on mine, and my case was overturned based on double jeopardy because I did my crime. I was charged with armed carjacking. That's what my charge was. So in one county, when I went to a county and I took a car from somebody by force. Took the car, boom, I take off. I get arrested in another county days later. When they catch me in the other county, they charge me with possession of a stolen car because that's all I got to them. When they send my picture to where the car came from, they said, oh my God, he took the car by force with a gun. So they charged me with armed robbery. So in one county it's armed robbery, one county is loss of a motor vehicle. But I stole the same item. I stole the same object. So I was going back in court for both. I pled guilty to the lesser one because my girl was in the car. So I took the guilty so she could walk. It was nothing. Then I got found guilty at trial later. So on appeal, they said you convicted him twice for selling the same object. So the second case got thrown out. Now, mind you, I went to my lawyer, as naive as I was, as illiterate as I was, had 2 pieces of paper. I went to my lawyer. I said, yo, lawyer, this one says I stole a 1985 Honda. This one says I did an armed robbery and I stole a 1985 Honda. Is this double jeopardy? And he told me no.
What?
He told me no. So
wow.
I ain't say nothing. Fast forward, when I went up on appeal, guess what it was? Double jeopardy. That lawyer has, when I was home like 4 years ago, he sent me an email, reached out, yo, Dre, I want to apologize to you. I know I did you dirty. Come on, that was basics. That was basics. My lawyer should have said, let's plead guilty in the lower court. He should have went to trial court and said, you got no jurisdiction. And I would have walked out with a 6-month probation. I should have walked out with 6 months probation. But my lawyer was like, nah, my lawyer. But the key word is he's a public defender. They don't see us as the public.
They figure that you're the criminal and they're protecting you from the public. They're protecting the public from you.
My lawyer, I showed it to him, 2 pieces of paper. It said armed robbery, it said loss. And I said, dude, is this double jeopardy? He looked me right in my face and said, no.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So,
oh, no, go ahead, Jalen.
I was just about to say, so it took you 8 years to find the mistakes that the human made.
I found a mistake when I was in the county. I just when I got to the prison system, I didn't go to the law library. I went to the yard. I went to the weight pile. I went to the track. I started teaming up. I'm bidding. There's so many people who go to court because we're not academics. We're not really educational inclined. They go down and sit down and have the discipline of reading law books for hours and hours and hours just isn't built into us. So I'm not an avid reader. I'm not an avid student. So now you want me to sit in this law library and read all this crazy wording on stuff that I don't understand. So I'm just going to go to the yard and hang out with my fellas. But when I turned my attitude around, I realized to get out of jail, I need to sit there. And by then I had sat like 3 years in solitary, so I learned how to sit still.
So it's low key a blessing and a curse that mistake happened, because do you think that if you would have got out in those 6 months, you'd have probably been doing the same shit and wound up?
If I'd have been on the street during the crack era, I'd have either been dead, I'd have got 100 years of being a crack kingpin or killing somebody for being a crack kingpin or something. And had I stayed out, I hadn't changed from who I was or what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
I would have kept doing the same thing. So there's no question, had I been released earlier or not sent at that time, I was on that track. And those of us who are in the streets, we just keep catching cases until they give us that bid. You go ask anybody, catch this case, they go right back out. This case, go right back out. This case, go right back out. Until something changes, you'll do the same thing. So I would have undoubtedly done the same thing.
Man, Andre, man, you got me thinking about a lot with this, man. So with this, after you got out of your situation, you were able to get out of your own situation through your studies. When did you get into the raising? I remember you mentioned you raised $25 million for a program with Harvard.
When I came home in 1999. About 4 months later, I got hired by a nonprofit, and the nonprofit was they did gang stuff, but I was like a top gang leader, so I could actually bridge arguments and mediate problems that other people couldn't. And I had access to people behind the walls who trusted and respected me, so I could actually mediate stuff in a way that other people couldn't. Then when I got my staff together, I got 15 real dudes, and I'm no make believe porch monkey. I'm saying this, yes sir. I got real dudes. I went around the city and got bosses, more parts, and said, yo, this is what we're going to do. And we're going to hold this down. Now, we didn't do it for the money, but I understand money. There's $275 billion being spent for this issue. The police department, believe it or not, gets majority of the money for youth programs. The same person who's in charge of locking you up is in charge of getting the money for the youth programs. Because what happens is when money comes into the city, here's $100 million, mayor. Who in your staff, who in your divisions handle youth? The police department. So you send them the $100 million. You don't send it to the boys club, the YMCA, the nonprofits, the mom on the corner who's helping people out. As the mayor, when you get $100 million or $20 million or $50 million or $20, who in your sphere handles you? The police department. So you shift it to them. So now you have the same entity who's trying to lock you up, trying to help you. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's really challenging.
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely challenging. So as a government agency, you're being tasked to go with your people. So when we came, we said, oh, we got a whole nother platform. Your people aren't the people. We're the people. So the question is, I ask people, do you want to manage the problem or do you want to fix the problem? And I ask them all the time, especially white folks, if Al-Qaeda group kidnapped you and held you hostage in the Middle East someplace in a basement, how many years would you need to be in captivity before you trusted them? They said never. I said, so when do you think criminals are going to start trusting you?
Message.
So it's not even about right or wrong. If Al-Qaeda believes that they caught you justly and that you're violating their whatever, how many years in captivity before you start trusting Al-Qaeda?
Never.
So how many years in captivity before we start trusting the people who held us hostage?
Never.
None.
And that's where we are. So you can't fix the problem.
And I kind of want to talk to that now. After you made your transformation and stuff, you got your guys together. Like, how was it you going back and telling people, like, hey man, the life that we live in, this ain't the life. This is not it. How do you transform the minds of people who hadn't seen the light yet, who hadn't got to that realization that you got to, man, I'm not the boss because I can't let myself out of here?
Two things. People respect money. They respect things done. So when we were kids, we saw the guy with the shiny car or the girls, and he had results. So we wanted his results.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we don't want the results of the guy who goes to work every day and takes the bus, carrying a lunch pail. That ain't results. We see the guy with the money. We see the NBA players with the money. We see the football players and the rappers with the status, and their results make us want to be them. So when I show up, it's not just, yo, man, your life sucks. Does LeBron James really need to sell basketball?
No.
It sells itself. For him, he's like, yo, man, I make $80 million a year. You want to try this? Yeah. So Rich Paul, his agent, he probably makes $30 million a year. You want to be an agent? Yeah. So when I come back, it's not your life is stupid or you're out of bounds. Hey, this is an option. I'm doing real numbers. Not only am I doing good work for our people, but I'm doing real numbers. I'm pushing real whips. I'm flying around the world. Yo, look at me in Italy. Yo, look at me in France. Yo, look at me over here. I got floor seats to the Laker game. I got floor seats to the Mavs. I'm on a 50-yard line. I'm not giving up. I'm not saying, hey, quit your life and go be a 9-to-5 guy and be bored.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having a hella good time.
And you helping people.
I help people. I make money, and I travel the world. I don't apologize for none of it.
I do also want to ask a question with that. For somebody who might be listening, who actually wants to try to make a difference or wants to try to help people, can you speak a little bit to that nonprofit process, or how did you go into the formation of doing that so that you could, facilitate you having these guys together and getting everybody paid and still having that ability to travel and all the rest of that?
Okay, well, my first nonprofit, when I came in, I knew nothing about the nonprofit world. I knew I had a talent, which was engaging with criminal people because I understood the life. So when you go back and you look at sports, most athletes don't understand their talent beyond the field, beyond the court. So how do you make money outside of that? Like Master P revolutionized music, not just because he sold records, but he ran the business. He understood the business side of it. So I started learning. So during my off times, I sat with the secretary. She taught me how to answer phones. I sat with the accountant. He taught me accounts payable, accounts receivable. I sat with the director. He taught me about hiring and firing people. The most important thing you ever do, Dre, the most important decision is who you hire because they represent you and you can't take it back. Then I started sitting with all the different people who taught me the aspects of running a nonprofit. Just because you're LeBron James doesn't mean you know how to run a basketball team. You know how to play on a basketball team, but running tickets, seats, cleaning, licensing, insurances, there's a lot more than just dribbling the ball. So running a team is different than being on the team. So I learned running the nonprofit. Then once I learned how to run the nonprofit, I know how all the pieces move, then you couldn't jerk me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens. You come in the talented guy and they use you until they don't need you, then they slide you out the door. You never see it coming. They just want to suck up your intellectual property. Hey, Dre, how would you fix this? Hey, Dre, how do you see that? Hey, Dre, how does this work? And you just run in your mouth. But I got to learn the business. And luckily for me, my first mentor taught me the business. Harvard University had created a program based on a Black encyclopedia created by Henry Louis Gates. And they had an after-school program that was based on that, and it was going great, and then it fell apart. And in the end, they brought me to Harvard. Me and my boss went to Harvard to a meeting to talk about this program. We get there, it's a dinner. We go inside, all the people are there, and they tell us the problem. That they had the program, the kids were coming, cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3, cycle 4, everybody disappeared. And they brought in this guy from Sweden, they brought in this guy from Japan, they brought in this guy from Texas, and they can't figure out what the problem is. And I asked them after the third, I said, well, what did the kids say? No. We brought the guy in from Japan. I said, no, I heard that part. What did the kids say? No, we brought the guy in from I said, no, I heard that part. Who asked the kids why they stopped coming? And it took me about 5 times of saying it, then the light bulb went off like, oh, we just need to interview the kids because they're the source and they're the reason. But they ushered me right out the meeting's over. Shoved me and my man out the door. The meeting was over, only me and my man left. We get outside, my boss turns to me, he says, Dre, give me 200,000. I said, man, you know I ain't got no 200,000. I said, man, give me 200,000. I said, I got 200. He said, that's how much you gave them in information just now. They've already spent $500,000 trying to fix this program. You fix it in 10 minutes for some food you don't even like.
Ooh.
He said, you just gave them $200,000 worth of information. Had they had to pay for that, it'd been a minimum of $200,000 to an expert to fix that problem for them. And that's when I started understanding the value of information. Because the information I gave them redirected an entire program, and they'd had to pay experts $200,000 for the same information they got from me for free. So now I go to these multi-billion-dollar companies who have problems, and I understand the value of my information. If not just what am I doing, but what am I impacting? What are we talking about? I got a company right now worth $2 billion. And let me see, I can't do that part. So this is their chart they gave me. It's like $853 million. I'm reviewing their program. They made $853 million last year. Dre, here's our program. Look through it. Tell us what the problem is. Tell us how to go forward. Now, I understand you got a company that produces $853 million a year in profit, and you need to get it to like 2.1 billion. And I created the system, this part. This is a system that they're running it on. I created this. And so they're like, Dre, okay, now help us get over the hump. Let's go. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to take a $2 billion company and sell it for $4 billion. And my part is to help you. I'm not the whole solution, but I'm going to be a cog in the wheel to make that happen. I understand the value of my information. So many people don't appreciate and understand the value that they don't know what to do with it. And then there's always a person. I remember people used to write raps. They got all these raps and they would never let them out. Can't let me hear them. They're going to steal my stuff. Then next, trap music came out, your shit's garbage. You know what I'm saying? You had all these raps, you hold it, boom, and something else come out, your shit's useless. Don't be scared of people stealing your stuff. It's gonna get stolen. It's how the world works. So when I started early on understanding the value of my insights, the fact that I didn't have a degree, the fact that I don't is irrelevant. Can you fix this problem? All businesses want to know is, can you fix my problem? Not where's your degree from? You can get a guy from Harvard who can't fix it. You can get a guy from community college who can. Who do you hire?
The guy that can.
I'm the guy who can.
And that's what
I'm not diminishing education or degrees. I'm just saying people want the person who can fix it. Now, if it's a guy who can fix it from Harvard, the guy who can fix it from community college, you take the Harvard guy.
Simple like that. So I have
yeah.
Like with that, so to a person who might have the skill set, but they don't have the proof behind them that I can fix it, how do you go about showing, hey, I'm the best guy for this candidate for this position. I just don't have it behind my name.
What you have to do is get some. My coach, Kendall Flickner, I used to work with Kendall. He said, get small wins. So you might not start off with a $2 billion company, but you have $2 billion concepts. You might have to start off with a smaller company. You have to start off with a company such as yours. Like y'all trying to get off the ground right now. So I might say, okay, I want to be a manager. I want to be a whatever. I would come to you and say, listen, I'm going to do this work for you and take your podcast and help you become here with it. You know what I'm saying? And help you grow it. Then I can say, look what I did. When I first started out, people weren't paying me for my ideas. But I can go back and say, I can tell that story. Go get Henry Louis Gates. I can use his name. I can use his program because I came with that information and nobody can take it from me. I don't have to exaggerate it, blow it up. And I've worked with many institutions that I can, City of Boston, Boston Police, Boston Public Schools, Boston College, MIT. I taught at Tufts University. I wasn't getting paid millions and millions of dollars, but I'm building a resume. Nobody gets paid for college in theory. You go AAU ball, they don't pay you. You play college ball, they don't pay you. You don't get paid to get, and that's your resume for when you get to the league.
Got to put that sweat equity in.
If you believe you have the concepts and the insights and the structure and the systems and the mindset, then you have to go find some places that you can prove that your systems work. So the state of South Carolina just hired me and extended my contract. I've been there for 2 years. They extended it for another year. Not because I got a good story, my shit works.
And yeah, this is for Academy of Hope, correct?
Academy of Hope just got extended. It's my 3rd year in South Carolina.
Can we speak just a little bit more about Academy of Hope for the people? Because man, that's a dope program. Like I love everything you're doing right now, man. It's like you really helping transform not only like businesses. I guess even before going into that, I do have a question for you. So do you feel like the knowledge and skill set, your unique skill set from your background, play into the reason that some of your solutions and systems work for like these billion-dollar corporations?
This is where I got my solution system from. I'm in solitary confinement. Now, I believe if you're good at creating plans, you're good at creating plans. If I was a musician, I learned how to play a trumpet in jail. I was just gifted. I just didn't figure it out until I got to jail. So it's not where you learn it, it's that you learn it. So I'm in prison. I'm in solitary confinement, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in the basement. There was a guy next door to me named Junior Chung. Junior Chung was on a double life sentence. He was heavily medicated because he had like emotional outbursts, like he'd hurt people. So he was by law mandated to take medicine, and if he didn't take it, they'd force medicate him. He had to take his meds to keep him calm. And I'm sitting next door to Junior, and I'm in the cell 24 hours a day with nothing. I get a newspaper. First, I read the paper, I read the sports, then read the Bang News. I got to the point I read the whole paper 5 times. Then I started going through the paper and said, okay, because I'm down here for the next 2.5 years. I'm not going anywhere. I got to the point where I would read the newspaper and I'd see a problem. Such and such in the south side of Boston is messed up, or this is messed up. I said, well, how would I solve that? I just took the newspaper, which I might have for 3 weeks at a time, because that's all I would get. I get hold of a newspaper, and I got to the point I started solving the problems in the newspaper. And I'd solve the problem, then I'd run it by Junior Chung. Now, when I could explain it to Junior, and he could understand it and have a conversation with me and articulate it back, I knew I had a winner. Stop trying to run your problems by smart people. They're going to get it instantly. If you run the problem, I get it. I do deep thinking, so I can fill in the blanks. I got a dude who's on psych meds. When he can get it, I got a winner.
That's powerful, though.
So I started running Junior would talk as long as he was lucid, and I'd run my stuff by him. And if he got stuck on something, then I'd change it until he could just get it. And I knew I had a winner. And I decided that's how I spend most of my time talking to Junior. And he would just, yeah. We go deep on the subject matter, but I started with the newspaper, solving problems in the newspaper around the city.
Started where you at with what you had.
That's all I had. I might get a newspaper, might have it for 3 weeks before I get the next one.
And I think this is a great segue for going in, because we're talking about Academy of Hope, just going into with what you're doing with prison reform and the way that you looked at that problem. How did you look at, okay, this is the problem, and this is the way that we solve this problem?
Prison reform comes back to how do you, again, there's 2 things. How people got to jail, which is distinctly another discussion. Then there's people who are in jail that needs help on how to not come back. So I'm focusing in right now. Most people can't separate the two. They get stuck. They merge them and they never get anywhere because it's like church. I work with churches. There's saving souls and there's making money. Got to separate the conversations. When you merge them, it goes back. So in prison, there's why they came. Then it's helping them go home better. So when I get into helping them go home better part, I'm not dealing with the why they came. So let's help them go home better. Is step one, separating the emotional part from the technical part. And then having sat in these cells, I know what it's like to be in prison. I know what it's like to be left out, to be feeling less than. I know all the emotions that go with being in prison. And if I asked you, what do you think the most important part of the day is in prison? The most emotionally draining and the most important part of the day is?
Going on the yard.
Going on, that's yours. I got 3 more coming.
Mine would probably be like whenever they lock the cells, whenever you can't.
I see one more person. I got 2 out of 3. Come on.
I guess would be the morning, just waking up and just being like, damn, I'm still here.
The most depressing or emotional part of the day is mail call. When that man, the CO comes down the hallway and he comes on every range where he has a whole basket full of mail. When he walks by your cell and he does not stop, what that says is nobody in the world is thinking about you today.
Damn.
You don't matter. To the world, you don't matter. And you're sitting in your cell. I don't care if you got a big TV, small TV, 100 pairs of sneakers, knives, guns, and the rest. He just walked by you, and him not stopping signifies that the world says you don't matter. And that hurts. And that's 6 days a week. You keep getting punched in the stomach saying the world says you don't matter. Yeah, you tough in here, Mom. You tough guy in here, but nobody in the world cares about you enough to sit down and send you a letter, a card, anything. And it's emotionally hurtful to have him walk by and not stop. And sometimes he'll walk by and pause, and he know he ain't got no damn mail. He'll look up, not my fault, keep going.
Oh,
Damn,
man.
that's some whole shit.
You just want to just choke him. But you can't because it's you. So whoever you think you've made yourself into, you're not. The world said that you don't matter.
Damn.
And that hurts. So when I design my programs, it's based on real life. I'm going to make sure that we account for that 4:00 mail call hurt that you got to deal with. We got to offset that. Then we got to deal with the locking down, safety on the yard. But there's some real psychological issues that impact people that unless you've been back there, you won't even understand. So
Can you speak to a little bit more of those that we wouldn't understand? I know you said one of them is mail call, and I'm just asking because we might have a listener who might be going through a situation and they somehow listening to this podcast from in jail.
Well, they can't write themselves a letter. That don't work. So if you have a loved one in jail, wearing the technology, mail was huge in the 80s and 90s before internet. Now everybody emails and texts and Zooms and whatever they do. So there's probably even less mail coming inside now. Because it's such a thing. Everybody wrote letters of some sort or some fashion, your bills. You got to go mail your check-in for the light bill, mail thing for the cable. Now everything's right here. Everything's right here. So who buys stamps anymore?
Not really nobody.
They always ask me at the post office, be like, what do I need that for?
Exactly. So people in jail, you have to actually buy stamps, buy envelopes, and then mail it in.
Damn.
That's a lot. Where it was a daily part of your occurrence back in the days, it was just part of the day. You went to the mailbox a couple times a week. Now, nobody goes to the mailbox. Only thing comes to the mailbox is circulars.
Yeah. Or like important
I go to the
documents.
mailbox once a week by accident. I go to my mailbox on trash day.
I was just about to say that too.
To throw stuff away. I go out there, I put your trash out, I go in the mailbox, and 80% of what's in my mailbox goes right in the trash can.
Damn.
Half of it ain't nothing important anyway. You're right. Shit.
So if you have a loved one in jail and you try to encourage and inspire them to do and be better, those letters matter. Those letters I used to get letters. I put it on my bed. I look at it. I look at the stamp. I mean, you're in your cell. It's like an ordeal, man. It's like, yo, somebody, and it wasn't just rip it open and read it. It was like, you had to appreciate it. So it was like this whole big thing. It's like Christmas time. And you think you got the gift that you want. You just want to look at it first. And That's serious. So there's that. Then there's holidays. Then there's people's birthdays. I'm saying there's things that are happening in the world that you can't be a part of. I got nieces and nephews. I'm not an uncle. I'm the guy in the picture on the wall. So when I talk to my nieces and nephews, I have no validity in my conversation because I'm not there. I haven't been there since they've been born. So dealing with that, the loss, I'm saying the not being able to be there, you have to tell yourself, well, they're better off without me. And that's a whole psychological trip you're taking yourself on it. This is not good. It's not healthy. So the things that happen in the average person in jail lives in fear. There's only so many bosses. I don't care what you say. There's only so many bosses, and whoever's not a boss or a top soldier is living in fear of those people. So every day you wake up, are they going to rob me? Are they going to rape me? Are they going to beat me? Are they going to bully me? Are they going to take my stuff? To live like that for 10 years is hurtful and damaging. For 10 years, okay, you're not a boss, you're not in the gang, but the gang might rob you, rape you, beat you, stomp you, whatever. So every day you're wondering, is today my day? Is today my day? Is today my day? That's a tough way to do 10 years. Wondering, is today your day? That does something to your psyche, to your spirit, to your person. And when you do, nothing happens to you per se. You get out, but you lived under extreme stress and fear for 10 years.
Now that's ingrained into you.
Yeah, now you're trying to bounce back. But for 10 years, you woke up every day scared for your life and for your safety.
And now, and on top of that, when you come back, the world completely different.
And now you're living in fear
when
then.
you walk out, everybody says, oh my God, you survived 10 years in the max. You're the man. You're not going to tell them, no, I was scared to death for 10 years. Nobody's going to tell them that. Oh, I'm one of the guys that got raped for 10 years. I'm one of the guys that got bullied for 10 years. Everybody walks out with this blanket of you're a tough guy now because you did 10 years in prison. And that's not the truth. It's not. 90% of people live in fear. 90. Whether something's going to happen to you or you're going to get sent on a mission where you get stuck back there for extra time. So understanding the psychological triggers and damage that happen is important when you design a program. It's not just you design it, here's something that looks good on paper. How does it fly in the life of the person that you're trying to impact? So when I go into prisons, I understand the person's emotional status and status and where they are and could be and design stuff based on those factors and help them move forward. That's what the Academy of Hope is about, speaking to men like men and in real time. We had a gentleman in one of our programs, we're in the group, and he's a tough dude. He didn't beat up too many people to count. And that's why I recruited him for the program. And he was explaining why he needed to beat people up. And it was based on his father told him, somebody hit you, you hit him back. And you hit him right. I got taught the same thing. And he explained it. He told himself, people respected it because he was a winner. He was nice with these. I turned to him, I said, bro. He said, what's up? I said, your father was wrong. He said, what you say? I said, your father was wrong. Your father was wrong. My father was wrong. Whoever else's father gave that information was wrong. It hasn't worked for you. It didn't work for me. But it made sense to us because of who taught it to us. But they taught us wrong. And we took it to an extreme that was above and beyond necessary. And I told him that his father was wrong, and it was the first time anybody ever told him that. And he saw it, and he realized that I was right. He was like, whoa, it doesn't work for me. It's never worked for me. And technically it is wrong. And he cried, half the room cried, and we made a shift in that man's life. Because I'm able to sit in there, because I sat in his seat 20 years ago where I thought you hit me, I'm hitting you back. Man, woman, and child, knocking your block off. That's what my mother told me. If you're man enough to hit me, you're man enough to get your hand hit back. Wrong.
That unlearning process.
That is powerful though, because especially in our community, like I just vividly remember my mama telling me that, like, somebody hits you, you bust their ass. And if you don't bust their ass, when you get home, I'm gonna bust your ass.
Wrong.
Damn, you just busted my head, man.
Like, it's because with Academy of Hope, like, it's like you want to look at it and think like, okay, this is a nonprofit, but no, it's not really just a nonprofit. You really helping these people transform, like, through that same process that you went through mentally all those years ago.
The Academy of Hope I show you in real time how to actually apply your information and knowledge and help people, help yourself, help your community, make money. We don't have to, it's all this, you have to be poor stuff. I go to church, I don't see any pastors not driving a Bentley or Benz.
Mm.
They don't subscribe to being poor. Businessmen don't subscribe to being poor. Church leaders don't subscribe to being poor. So why are we subscribing to being poor?
Us as black people, man. I said it one time, I said it a million times. We got to stop associating being black with lack.
For folks who, now, the Program Academy of Hope has the capacity to help people change. And I do that, you know what I'm saying? And I help people change. I could be off doing 100 other things and 100 other, I got $2 billion companies like Dre help me. Why? So why am I in prison doing prison work? Because that's our people. And the fact that they know the places, now I bring these people, these billionaires and multimillionaires, I bring them to the prison and they talk to them in real time. Nobody's ever brought billionaires and millionaires to the prison and sit down and talk to people. I'm saying, I do that. I'm saying, I'm like, yo, this is my people. Come on, you got to come meet them. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. I'm sure there's somebody else from Akron, Ohio that can play basketball. LeBron wasn't the only one. I'm saying there's somebody else from Lower Merion that can play basketball. Kobe wasn't the only one. There are other great people who are still, I'm saying, messed up because people won't come back. They get out, they get free, and they take off. Come on, you got to come back. You got to come back, man. If you ain't opening the door for somebody else, you ain't shit.
And I think that kind of takes us to the next section I want to talk on, my brother. And that's that networking part that we talked about off camera. And I think that's very, very important. Is like you said, they're not coming back. They're not building these networks. You're bringing these millionaires and billionaires into the prison system and showing them, hey, this is the work that I'm doing. This is the work that actually matters. But I want to speak on, like, how do you nurture these type of relationships to where you can make them comfortable to say, okay, let's go visit this prison. Let's go see what it's like to actually have this type of impact.
I do a whole training. It's called staying in the room. So many people can get in the room by whatever means. Staying in the room is a whole other thing. I've watched countless people kicked out of the room because they move wrong. They don't know how to move correctly. They get in the room, they make bad mistakes, they get put out. So you have to get in the room and then stay in the room. Like right now, Kyrie Irving's on the verge of getting put out of the room.
That's a fact.
Dennis Rodman, 3-time NBA champion in a row, got put out of the room. How you go from 3 back-to-back, 3 titles in a row and you can't get a job? Nowhere. Carmelo got put out of the room. Telling me Carmelo's not even in the top 300 players in the NBA a year and a half ago? He got in a room, didn't mesh with the people, they put his ass out the room. Then he had to go humble up and come back. Love Carmelo, love Dennis Rodman, love AI. But they all got put out of the room because they didn't know how to move. When your talent doesn't oversee your problems, they'll put you out. So my thing is, when you meet people, whether they're millionaires, billionaires, or regular folks, you have to establish trust first. Don't always think business. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's doing business with a stranger. You have to establish trust. Because if I'm this multi-millionaire, why am I taking a chance on you? So you need to come in and the time and the spaces that we're together, establish that you're a trustworthy person. And remember this, life gives to the giver, not the ass kisser.
Hold on, my brother.
Message.
Life gives to the giver, not the ass kisser. Give sincerity, give from your heart, give and mean it. And everybody's always looking at you. And when you pop up, and then they'll say, okay, well, why should I rock with you? So would you want me to mentor you? I do business across 7 countries and 7 states and blah, blah. Would you want me to mentor you? Say, yeah. And I had a situation in Charlotte. I spoke at a high school, all these kids in the auditorium, black kids, and one kid came out the stands. He just ran out the stands crying. You are me. My life and your life is exactly my mom, dad, sister, brother, exact word for word. He said, you have to mentor me. God sent you here to mentor me. You're it. I will do whatever you say. I said, okay, I got one question. I said, what? He said, what? So you're a senior? He said, yeah. I said, who are you mentoring? He said, what do you mean? So I'm not mentoring anybody. I said, it's juniors, freshmen, and sophomores, and you're not helping none of these kids mentoring? He said, no. I said, then get out my face. You can't tell me, but dude, if you ain't helping nobody, don't ask me to help you. Kick rocks, because you're already telling me it's about you. Your lifestyle is telling me it's only about you. So whatever I do for you is going to stay with you. You ain't trying to pass it on. You're going to be one of them dudes who make it and forget about everybody. Because there's people here right now that you can help in your capacity right now, and you're not. Help in the space that you can. Then when you elevate, you continue to help in the space that you can. If you're not helping in the space that you can now, you're not going to later.
Some gems, man.
The real gems. Like when it comes to, that's not even just like networking. That's real.
Yeah, just like life. Yeah.
People see me and they see the work that I do. And they see that I'm about giving. I help. Cameras on, cameras off. If you're the cool guy, you're the big guy, you're whatever guy, I help people. That's my primary goal. What is your primary goal? Is it making money? Is it being famous? Is it being seen? Or is it help? I wake up every day. What can I do to be helpful? I could have said, yo, these dudes on the Want This podcast, I ain't got time for this. Why am I doing a podcast with these dudes I don't even know on a Saturday? You know what I'm saying? They ain't got no big following. I should be shooting for Joe Rogan. I can get Joe Rogan through 2 phone calls right now. I can get this one, that one on a phone call. Why am I doing a podcast with these 4 black dudes I don't even know? I don't ask those questions. Yo, Dre, somebody wants you on their podcast. I don't have any vetting system. What is their viewership? How many people do they touch? Who do they know? What's their platform? You call me, I answer my call. People hit me up on IG. Craziest thing, I call them back. They'll hit me on the social. When Social Proof first came out, people were sending me IGs. I was hitting them up, calling them. Like, yo, give me a number. They're like, yo, it's him. It's him. He's really on the phone. Dude, that's that whole mythical social media giant shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm on social media, but I ain't nobody's giant. I live on a regular street in a regular house. My bathroom don't work any different than yours. So my thing is, I call people. Yo, people hit me up. Boom, I call them. Yo, what's up? How you doing? Yo, you really called. What? I mean, I can say hi to somebody. You start talking crazy, I hang up on you. I don't block people. I tell you, stop calling my damn phone. What you want? I ain't got no blocking people stuff. You call me, you hit me up. Anybody's ever hit me on IG has gotten a message back from me.
Not from nobody else. Yeah.
No bots. Now, it might get to the point where that's not possible. But for right now, everybody who hit me up who saw the Social Proof podcast on IG, I hit them back. If you hit me on Facebook, you probably didn't hear from me because I don't go on Facebook that much.
Yeah, same.
Same, my brother.
I hit people. There was a group of dudes out of New York. You can FaceTime people on IG now. So they're like, yo, it's really him. I'm like, dude, I'm not special. The specialness in me is that we're a collective. As long as you understand the collective of the people, I'm saying, then you understand why you're special because you're a part of. No one man can rise above the status of his own people. No one man. LeBron James might not get a taxi, he go in the wrong part of town. Barack Obama will get handcuffed and slammed on the floor, he go to the wrong part of town. There's been too many cases of police beat up and shot because they was in the wrong part of town without their uniform on. No one person can rise above the status of their people collective, which is what allows us to be victimized no matter who we are, and also allows white folks to move forward in spaces and places no matter based on who they are. We couldn't have run in the Capitol like that 300 deep.
Nah.
I saw that. I said, I'd have been there. I'd have been the hell up out of there. I'd have been running. Yo, Drake, nah. Once they bridge that, yeah. Once they hit the barricades, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm gone.
Never could we have 3,000 deep descended on the Capitol. We came to D.C. last summer and met an Army brigade. Black Lives Matter. I didn't go personally. Black folks went to D.C. last summer protesting George Floyd. Police
everything.
This is what they said about the white people that came to D.C. We didn't believe there was a threat. We didn't believe they would do something like that. Because you generally believe people, the best of people that you understand. So it's not that they don't believe in us, they don't understand us to believe in us. So they trusted their own. If my son was coming to my house, I wouldn't blink. My son said, hey, Dad, I'm coming over. All right, cool. I'm not got a metal detector out front. That's family. But let's some 3 people I don't know tomorrow they're coming by. I'm putting shit away. I'm saying, moving stuff out the way. I'm making sure stuff is straight. because I don't know you, I don't trust you, I don't have a relationship with you. So what happens is it's not even racism at one level. It's like they feel comfortable with their own people. They don't feel comfortable with us. So just accept it. I got tons of white friends. The best man at my wedding was a white guy. My number one mentor is an Orthodox Jewish rabbi who's white. I have zero problem with white, but I understand there are just some people who don't have relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And based on those relationships, they're gonna move on what they think and what they see on TV. Doesn't make it right.
Man.
So we have to get to a place of, man, white folks don't get us. They don't understand. You tell me what's happening in Bangladesh right now. You tell me what's happening in South Korea right now that you really care. You don't. You could care less about South Korea, Bangladesh, Thailand, Mexico, anything else, but you want everybody to care about us. You don't care about no other entity that's suffering, but you want people to care about us who's suffering.
Because we only recognize and relate to our own collective.
Right. So when I say I respect the Native Americans from this country who really got it bad, the indigenous in Australia who are struggling, the people who are on sides of mountains in Kurdistan who are struggling, the people in Bangladesh and these third world countries who are being sold into prostitution by their parents. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm not fixing it, but do you care beyond yourselves? Because your argument is shallow and hollow when it's all about us.
Andre, man, you got me. You touched on them third world countries. You just made me think about it. Like were you helping solve problems for people in those places? How has that been for you? Like we talked about it off camera. The crisis management part of what you do. Like how do you help out in those types of countries in those situations?
Tú sabes, mi hermano, te tienen problemas todo el mundo. No somos de aquí en Estados Unidos. Tú sabes. So, hey, okay, yo voy a Guatemala, con Honduras, España. Yo necesito ayuda a personas pobres, personas no tienen comida, necesito escuela. ¿Entendiste? Muchos personas mafiosos matan para nada. Porque dice, Andrés, tú tienes muchas cosas, muchos amigos grandes. Yo necesito ayuda aquí. So, yo voy. Yo no necesito pagar mi nada. Yo trabajo para Dios solamente. Porque yo quiero toda persona viva. Bueno.
Look at the Spanish on this dog. I'm not going.
So what happens is,
you why he's doing it though, to let everybody know. You got to be able to speak the language. You got to be able to fit in that environment, get in the room, but stay in that room. If he was just another black nigga off the street, what'd you say? What does poor K mean? Like, he wouldn't be able to. There's no value there.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is, when I start talking, like, what's he doing? I'm global. You know what global means? Multilingual. Either be super rich or multilingual, or both. So when I go to countries, I'm able to communicate with presidents and prime ministers and people on the ground in their language and help them with their problems. And I have used interpreters, but in most cases, I speak myself. I'll teach myself that language. If I'm committed to helping those people, I need to be at least committed to speaking their language. If I'm not committed to speaking their language, I'm not committed to helping them.
Because you're not trying to understand them.
I'm just passing through to get a check. I'm managing the problem. You can't fix a problem you don't speak the language of.
And now, man,
you just bust your head with that,
man. He got me. I'm over here like I just keep thinking because like we talked about this whole global piece, and now I kind of want to even go back. I feel bad on it because I want to go back to the prison reform thing here, and it's like, damn, that's just getting back centric and not like kind of shrinking the conversation again. But I think I'm gonna ask.
I need people in your podcast to think beyond their cities, their states, their regions, and think global. When I'm in Sweden, the average person speaks 5 languages because they have to. I'm saying here we can get away with 1 because we're the central world order space and whatever you want to call it. So if you're in New Orleans, you're in Memphis, you're in Boston, you're in Los Angeles, you're up in San Fran or Seattle or Portland or whatever city you're in Detroit, I'm saying you have to stop thinking globally. Now, even if you don't go global, the fact that you're thinking global gives you more range of ideas to bring to the table. If I'm only thinking about Chicago based on Chicago and what I've seen in Chicago, then I'm limited. I'm trying to bring to Chicago what I saw, you know what I'm saying, in Spain, or what I've witnessed in Sweden. So I'm bringing a global approach to a local problem.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying, so you have to broaden your thinking and your horizons to be able to bring forth the best case scenarios and solutions to the problems. If all your solutions are based on 4 square blocks of living, then your solutions are limited.
Mm. Thinking inside the box.
You're thinking of 4 square blocks. A lot of us grew up in 4 square city blocks. That's all we know. So how are you going to solve a global problem if you've never been outside of 4 city blocks? So you have to, I've been to a lot of these countries. I've sat with these people. I've been to their markets. I've gone out and I said, okay, I'm just looking. Nature never lies. Nature never lies. Study nature. Books are great. Nature never lies.
Mm-hmm.
Nature works, and that, whatever you call your God, whatever you consider God to be, nature was his creation or their creation, and it never lies. They don't lie all day long. Nature will tell you how things work. Animals and fish and dogs and cats and coyotes and all nature never lies.
And can you kind of just break that down a little bit more for what you mean by that?
I wanted to learn systems on how things connect. I watch rivers. I watch how rivers work. I wanted things how things work in different habitats. I look at animals. I'm saying how they get along or don't get along, how they do their hierarchy, how they do their systems. I'm saying I look at when something's out of balance. I'm saying there'll be a tidal wave or something happens. I'm saying, and it's not even a tidal wave. We call it a tidal wave because it's an inconvenience for us. An inconvenience for us weather-wise is something wrong. We're in its way. It's not in our way.
It's just going through its cycle.
It's going through a cycle. New Orleans created a situation that defies nature.
We just talked about this like
shit all the time.
Literally,
you create a scenario that defies nature. You stop the natural flow of water, but for how long?
That's the $1 million question.
I'm saying, so you have to put up a lot of money to get the Hoover Dam to work. You're stopping and controlling nature, and there's a result to that. So I watch how birds move. I watch how fish moves. I used to watch how some fish used to swim upstream and die just to rebirth. I mean, I just, because I never could trust people. My parents didn't always tell me the truth. My neighbors didn't tell me the truth. My teachers didn't tell me the truth. But National Geographic never lied to me. I could, that was just honest. That was honest. There was no cut in that. I could watch National Geographic all day and never be lied to. And to me,
that's a major piece when it comes to systems. With observing nature, I ain't never thought of it like that because nature is a system.
I used to sit on the prison yard and look at the clouds and say, those clouds fly over free people. They're not just for me. That bird on the side of the wall flies into free people. I'm saying the little cat running across the yard, they get out to freedom. I convinced myself that I was in this sub world when I wasn't. You know the distance between a prison yard and a parking lot? 2-minute walk, 1-minute walk. When I went home, that was the most shocking thing. I walked from the prison yard to the parking lot. It took me about a minute. I walked down a little hallway, 100 yards out the door.
You were that close to freedom.
Oh, never realized it.
Damn.
The whole time you're inside, you see the 40-foot wall, you see the razor wire and the guard towers, and you think freedom is miles away. 100 yards.
Man.
It's psychological. They convince you in your mind that it is, and it's all this big construct, and you start feeding and believing into it.
You still got his head messed up.
Some real talk, man. Like,
Tranquilo, mi hermano, tranquilo. Tú sabes, yo necesito un poco de paso. Tú sabes. Tú pensado mucho ahora, tú un poco duele allá.
Hey, man, but I'm glad we had this conversation with you because it really is a necessary thing. Thinking bigger, I think our community needs that message altogether. Like just thinking larger, thinking more global, as you were saying.
Even something that you just made me think about it. Even with the issues of us being black in America, why do they feel this way? Because they feel like we're not adding value to anything, right? We're not looking larger than us.
Designed to add value. We were designed to add value. We weren't designed to think. We were designed to add value based on orders. Slaves were brought here and they were dictated what to do, when to do it, how to do it, all the rest of that. I'm saying now when slavery ended, now, okay, what do we do with these people? Became the Came the next thing. What do we do with them? Well, we still need them for manual labor. But now we're in a time and age where we no longer need the black man to do manual labor. So now the question is, do we want to embrace them as full citizens? It was in my lifetime, we weren't allowed to vote. In my lifetime, we weren't allowed to live certain places. In my lifetime, you could hang a black man just because. In our lifetime, we watched Rodney King beat to a pulp and they said it was because he was speeding. In our lifetime, we see the treatment we receive because there's never been a collective discussion around what do we do with black people. We just assume that, okay, well, we've given them the rights, we've given them the laws, they're all in now. No. It's deeper than passing a law. It's deeper than you saying, just saying, okay, well, you're on the books by force or by proxy. I'm saying, do you really want these people on the books? And if not, why? Let's be honest. I'm saying there's some people who don't want us on the books. We have the voter suppression. You can't vote. If you steal a car in Florida and go to jail and come home, you can never vote again. What does stealing a car got to do with voting?
Not a damn thing.
Yes, it does. How do we find a way to disenfranchise you? There's several states that if you commit a crime, they take your voting rights away. What is essential to the core of this democracy? The ability to vote. The whole last election, what was it beefing about? The tally of the votes. Now, I remember just by proxy in my lifetime when George Bush and Al Gore was beefing and Jeb Bush was down in Florida and it ended up that his brother won. You know what I'm saying? Al Gore took it on the chin. There was questions and comments but for years, for decades, there's been systems put in place to stop black folks from voting.
Ever since the end of slavery, yeah, like they said, the 13th Amendment.
Allowed to vote, they try to take the vote. Because the way that the Constitution is written, if you ever get to legitimately this one man, one vote thing and black folks stop voting in masses, as you saw in the last election, we become the swing vote.
Mm-hmm.
The decision between Biden and Trump came down to black people. Black people decided that election.
I can believe it. That
Atlanta, black
the
people.
numbers and votes.
Detroit, black people. Philly, black people. Every major city, go back and look where it swung. It was all based on black votes.
Gotta recognize that collective power, man. Again, man.
Now you need to understand the value of. They don't understand the value of the vote because our leadership is so screwed up. I'm saying whether it's Al Sharpton or these pastors or these other folks, the mission of the leaders aren't to make the people better. The missions of the leaders are to make themselves better. So every big church I see, the first thing I look for is how many of your relatives work for you. And if your son has a job here making $80,000 a year and he's dumb as rocks, is that because he's your son or you believe in the gospel? Is this the family business or is this Christ's church?
Mm.
That's one thing I can say about the Catholic Church is they don't hire their own like that. You have to be part of the hierarchy to be in that space. But black churches, we hire our own people. It's a family business. So you give all your tithes and offering, I hire all my family and I go buy a Bentley and you just it is what it is. Or this is a trick to hit you with. I sell books and tapes and I do stuff. But you do that based on the premise of your gospel teaching. So you want to separate out gospel income from money generated based on you being a gospel person. That's all I wanted to say. LeBron James is only doing Sprite commercials because he plays basketball.
Mm.
When's the last time you've seen Dennis Rodman in a commercial? When's the last time you've seen Allen Iverson in a commercial? When's the last time you've seen J.R. Ryder in a commercial? When's the last time you've seen Patrick Ewing in a commercial? When you come off the court, it's done.
Clip, you're over with.
You know what I'm saying? So when you're on the court, your commercials. Off the court, it's done. So you get your commercials based on being an athlete. If you're making your income, like Gronk didn't spend any of his game checks, he used his commercial checks. So all these pastors are making money based on being the spiritual leader. They say, well, that money has nothing to do with the rest of it. They created LLC to run their business, their book sales through and call it non-gospel, even though everything you're selling is based on what you're doing in the church. Now, if you were the pastor of a church, you got a car wash, that's cool. Pastor of the church, you got a clothing store, grocery store, that's cool. You're the pastor of the church, you sell books on gospel and leadership, come on, man. You're splitting heads.
Are you really helping? Are you really serving?
And listen, when I see people with $1 million mansions and fleets of cars in private jets, no. It's not about the service. It's about you first, them second. And I'm okay with that to say that. I'm not mad at you for it. If that's your hustle, knock it down.
Just be honest with it.
Yeah, just be true about it.
I want to lay a jet because I want to lay a jet, not because God told me to. God wants me to find a lay a jet. Yeah, really?
Or did you want that? Yeah, real talk.
Listen, I wouldn't mind a lay a jet. And if y'all want to contribute money to my lay a jet, I'm with that. We call poverty pimps. White folks go for that on tip too. They don't poverty pimp them, but like the gospel has been stretched out thin.
I think this whole conversation, it all come back to that thing you said
at the very beginning
when it comes to anybody, and not just gospel, business, anything you doing in life. The guiding post every day should be, how am I helping?
What can I do to be helpful?
You don't treat people differently based on where you think they're going to be or where you think they are. People are people. We're all human. We're all equal. Some people are struggling. Some people need different types of help. But everybody deserves to be respected. If you can't respect people, then there's a problem with you. You want to make money? I can teach you how to make money. You want to start a program? I can teach you how to start a program. You want to do all this different stuff? It's not hard, but it goes back to, who are you? I'm Black. I'm a criminal. I'm a gang member. I'm violent. I'm a bully. I made a list of who I was and said what I want to be, and said, does this person fit in this box? Is if you think you're going to show up and be around me for any amount of time, not going to see who you are inside, you're crazy. You think you can hide it with that nice shirt or dress or whatever, or the bag or the briefcase or the bullshit. If you're around me any length of time, I want to see through you. Because in prison, I was designed to see through people's objectives and plots. That's why I'm breathing. Watch this. See that? I'm a professional breather. There's a lot of rookies that ain't here no more. There's a lot of people who ain't breathing because they don't know what they was doing. They was doing it by chance. I breathe with intent.
That's a bar.
If you want to come around me and learn this stuff, you ain't got to be perfect, but you got to be honest. If you think I'm not going to see your faults and the rest of your stuff, you're crazy. It's going to come out. I have access to some of the top people on the planet. I'm still the same guy. I was in Virginia. I called my people in D.C., said I'm close by. So I went to D.C. and I met with them. I'm in D.C. I called my people in Delaware, said I'm close by. But they was like, I was going to come in. They said, oh, we're not in town right now. We out of town. They said, is there something I can do for you? I said, I want to meet the president-elect. They were like, no problem. Because they've been friends for 30 years. So I got a meeting coming with President-elect, soon to be President Joe Biden. So now here we go. I got the meeting. This is the dream meeting. You get to meet the president and leader of the free world. I met with leaders before. I've spent hours preparing for that conversation. Now, it doesn't matter who the president is at one level, or it does, but it doesn't, or who the CEO is, or who the director of the nonprofit is, or who the pastor of the church is. Do you understand your information? You understand their situation and how to merge it to and get a win? What does a win look like? You have to be specific, clear, and have an understanding that the other person is not necessarily against you, but they're not working for you. So when LeBron James goes in negotiations with the Lakers, they both want to be there, but LeBron wants more, they want to pay less, so they got to hit that median. So if he says, just pay me more, they gave him $2 more than when he got last year, they're good. You have to give them specific numbers and whys. You have to have measurables and outcomes and whys. So when you go into a room and you're going to advocate for Black folks, don't tell us what is not working. The question is not, it's not working. We need more business ownership. No, we don't need more business ownership. What does that mean? We need more business training. We need better school systems that's going to produce better people that can go into business. So if your core of the reason people don't own businesses is not fixed, and you never get to more business people. So we need a better curriculum from K to 8, from K to 12 that's going to produce better people that will produce what he's asking for. Always go big, never go small. Make them make it smaller.
My brother, I appreciate you. I just want you to know that.
Yeah, I'm
everybody across the board, and it'll get you what you want. And when you ask me something, the K to 12 will get you what you want, but it also helps people outside of that space. So be inclusive whenever you can. So when I go into a room and I negotiate, like you was talking about Chris Voss earlier. Chris Voss is a personal friend. We met and got along great because we're both master negotiators. So he did it for the FBI. I did it in the penitentiary, but it was negotiation nonetheless.
Mhm.
When we got in the same space, he's a 20-year FBI guy. I'm a 20-year criminal, but we both start literally in the same space and the same methodology. When I walk into a room because I won't wear a suit and I got a closet full of Timbs and Vapor Maxes, or he got lucky, or this is my favorite one. People will see me because I'm older, I'm not in shape anymore, and I don't care. I might shave, I might not shave. They think, well, I'm smarter than him. I'm more in shape than him. I'm cooler than him. I'm whatever than him. And if they love him, wait till they meet me. They're going to drop him and go with me. That's what they be thinking. And they were like, just let me get in the room. I'm going to go, wow, look at me. I'm 10 times better than Dre. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Michael Jordan was never 7 feet tall. AI was never going to be 7 feet tall. Kobe was never going to be 7 feet tall. It's not how tall you are, it's how tall you stand. And people get that confused. Because you're taller than me don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because you got a nicer shirt don't mean nothing. Where's the character? Where's the morality? Where's the value? Where's the collaboration? Where's the understanding? Where's the giver in you? When you go to a meeting, think you're going to outshine somebody, that's not giving, that's taking. And that is transparent to other people that you're just a taker. You're trying to take his shine and outshine him instead of shining with him and then branching off. I celebrate people when they graduate from my company and go on to something else. I did an interview this morning. I told a lady, I said, listen, you're not going to work for me forever. If you get a better opportunity, a better situation, and you won't take it, I'll fire you.
That's real.
I'm going to make you take it. And then if it don't work out, then come back. But if you want to elevate, you want to be in these rooms that I'm in, you want to be in these conversations that I'm in, you have to be a giver. It can't be selfishness. It can't be me first. Because that is so transparent. It's going to appear sooner or later. At some point, the opportunity is going to come up where it's about you or the money, and it's about the people or you, and you're going to take you. And once you do it, then you're exposed. I mean, come on. I'm not in the bashing nobody. We have a ton of Black leaders we don't respect because we see that they're about themselves. Now, don't be that in reverse because you didn't put forth the effort to be knowledgeable enough or insightful enough or prepared enough to represent us. If you want to represent us, prepare. What do you specialize in? What are you really crushing it in? Y'all do wealth, right? I'm going to ask you, what is your cutting edge idea that revolutionized Black wealth in America? Do you have one written out, planned, drafted?
Nope.
So my next question is, are you cutting edge or status quo?
Man, my brother, can we have a conversation?
I can the answer. Are you cutting edge or status quo?
At this point,
No.
I don't want the story.
We ain't cutting edge. No, we status quo.
You keep answering the question first. Are you cutting edge or status quo is the question. Not what are you not, what are you?
Status quo.
That's one. I got two more people on the line.
Status quo.
Sounds horrible, doesn't it? You didn't want to tell yourself the truth. Now ask me why I sat in prison and was out running down that fantasy world. Ask me why so many people are stuck in dead-end jobs because they won't tell themselves what's clearly, obviously the truth. You tried everything in your might not to say that you're status quo, even though you clearly said, I don't have a cutting edge idea. Accepting the reality is not a bad thing. Now that you've accepted it, now you can change it. But if you never embrace it and accept it, you'll never change it. You keep telling yourself, well, I'm the shit. I'm status quo. I'm cutting edge. I'm all the way out there. No, you're not, because you don't have a defined idea that is deemed cutting edge. So that makes you status quo, which makes your feelings hurt. And that hurt feeling will propel you into hopefully trying to get cutting edge. But until you admit it, you never try to fix it. I admit what I don't do well. I admit what I suck at. I admit what I fail at. And I fix it. Oh, it's okay. I'm cool with that. No, I'm not. Yo, Dre, I'm status quo. And I hate the sound of it. And I never want to have to say that again in public. So what I do, I go to the lab. I hit them whiteboards. I got to get this done. I can't have nobody ask me from status quo again. Oh, no. Not in the area I specialize in. Prison reform, cutting edge. Motivational speaking, cutting edge. Gang outreach, cutting edge. Strategic planning, cutting edge. Business development, cutting edge. And I can verify it 10 times over. Ask me about a t-shirt company. I ain't nowhere. I don't know. I took me forever to get these t-shirts made. I suck at t-shirt company. I know something, and I will forever suck at being a t-shirt company guy. It's not my goal. But the areas I specialize in, I crush. Would you really want to go to a meeting and be on the other side of the table from me negotiating for something?
At this given moment, nah, my brother.
I'll be honest, no.
Nah.
I see people, I tell them, I said, listen, you might walk in the room, and I'll be working for your counterpart, for the person you're going against. And I used to walk in the rooms and crush people. They came in thinking that they understood and they knew and they had it all figured out. They come and I would crush. This is how I made $25 million. I crushed my opponents. There was no option but to give me the money. So if we were going for money in the black space right now, guess who'd walk away from it? Walk away with it, not y'all.
Nah, not at all.
I made you admit to the funder that y'all are just average. And I'd be like, yo, I'm the shit. They'd be like, give Dre the money. Write your check to Dre in there. Then the next group will come in and they will be unprepared. I would crush them. They'd be like, give Dre them the check. Dre team, check. Other team, back to the drawing board. And y'all would leave and not want to admit that you got crushed and tell the truth why, and then you repeat it again. I've crushed people several times over and over.
I'm going to the motherfucking lab, my brother. That's all you got a nigga feeling like right now. I am not going to lie.
Like this is motivation.
I'm telling you, it's no bullshit, bro. Like 2-3 days ago, I'm just like, same thought in my head. Like, man, I need to know more. If anything, that's all it is that you just gave confirmation on.
Dude, this is so unfair.
Mm-hmm.
This makes the world so unfair. You can look up whatever you want to look up and study it. YouTube University is real. There's so many people, so many free courses is real. So many podcasts available is real. If you don't know something, it's because you're lazy. I know homeless people that got cell phones. You can either look up where they got free dinners, or you can look up how to invest in stocks. You look up what you want to look up.
Mm-hmm.
And my son, he does investment, he does Forex trading, a bunch of stuff. He called me the other day and he literally said, Dad, I need more money. He was like, I want to buy stuff that I want to buy / frivolous stuff, whether it's a chain, a hat, a coat, or jacket, or whatever. It's stuff that he wanted to buy that me and his mom ain't going to buy for him. He called me and says, Dad, I want disposable money to buy the things that I want to buy. These are the 2 books I sent him. This is called The Membership Economy. This one's called Who Not How.
I just got told about this book. I just got told about that one.
And this is one, The Road Less Stupid. He's already read this one. So these are the books my 15-year-old are reading right now around how to build wealth. These are the baseline. If you ask you what Amazon was, what would you tell me?
The everything store.
It's a shipping company. You've heard of Amazon Prime?
Yep.
You pay $100 a year. There's 120 million people who pay that. That's 1.2 billion people who pay for just the shipping component of Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
1.2 billion people, $1.2 billion a year for shipping is paid up front. They're a shipping company. Then they sell you stuff on the back end.
And that's kind of what the membership economy one is about.
Membership economy will teach you how to set up subscription, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, all these things are memberships.
Mm-hmm.
Apple Play, Spotify. I'm saying, I can go down the list. They're all memberships. So the membership economy is what that is about. So my 15-year-old is reading this right now. He wrote it before, but he didn't really pay no attention to it. He read it before. Road Less Stupid, one of the best business books to come out in the last 10 years. You ever heard of Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Yeah.
This is Rich Dad. This is who Rich Dad is based on. This is who Rich Dad, Poor Dad is based on, Keith Cunningham.
That's actually the book that got us started.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Yeah, a couple years ago. That's when got us.
This is who Rich Dad really is. That book is based on Keith Cunningham's life. Robert Kiyosaki interned and hung around Keith Cunningham for years and watched every move he made. Then he wrote the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad based on everything he saw Keith do.
Now that's pressure.
Robert Kiyosaki, Keith Cunningham, that story might pop up, but I know Keith. Personal friend, great guy, him and his wife, Cindy. So those books are my 15-year-old is reading right now.
Hey, added to the list for sure. That's not
disposable income.
You said, 1 second. The other one, the who one is who not what?
Who not how?
Who not how?
By Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan.
All right, cool.
The Genius I work with a place called Genius Network. It's the #1 mastermind group in the world. Both of these 2 are members.
Hey, my brother, I ain't even gonna pivot to our last section.
Nah.
I just want to say thank you for.
Let's go to the last session.
What's on your timeline?
What's on your timeline? We don't even need.
What's on my timeline is I want a president, whether it's Joe Biden or the next one, to appoint me, or governor of any of the 50 states, to appoint me the person in charge of fixing the prison system that's under their jurisdiction. That's on my timeline. That's my goal for 2021, 22, 25. That's my next big goal. I want a president and or a governor. The president controls the federal system. The governors control the state systems. So I want a president and or a governor. A sheriff can help me revamp a jail, or sheriff. I have to pick 3 people: president, governor, or sheriff, to appoint me and give me the authority to redesign the entire prison system and make it work. That's what's on my timeline. Now, I don't know what kind of goals y'all got, right? But that's a $50 billion project that I'm on that impacts a $275 billion system that affects 7 out of 8 Black people.
That's real goal.
I don't know how many hoodies you want to sell, but I don't want to sell any hoodies. I want to free Black people from the slavery of their mind and of the fantasies and of just denial of what's true. When we start telling the truth of what's true, you're upstanding, well-rounded, good Black guy, but you wouldn't tell the truth. Did you see him, Jay? He was stuck on telling the truth. It's the thing. It was an obvious truth. I didn't ask you, did you steal something? I didn't ask you, did you cheat on your girl? I didn't ask you, did you do anything? I asked you a question, you answered it, then the second question was clear. The answer was so clear based on your first answer. 2 questions. The first answer gives you your second answer, but you wouldn't say it. You said every way but straight up. Well, I wouldn't consider myself cutting edge at this time. I didn't ask you that. Well, I'm not sure right now. And you looking around the room like some shit's gonna pop out of the sky. And they're gonna pop in there and save you. I'm not cutting edge. Wasn't it? I am status quo.
Hey, man. Like I said, once again, appreciate you, my brother.
You definitely planted a seed in our head, a seed of not just motivation, but a seed of execution that need to be taken.
I try to dig up your whole backyard. I don't play fair.
Hey, and that's what's needed though, man. I appreciate that for real, honestly.
What y'all are doing is admirable. What y'all doing, man, has the ability to go global. What you're doing is beyond needed. And what I can do to be helpful is to show up and be supportive. I'm saying what I can do to be helpful, man, is to validate with my time and my energy and my efforts to let anybody know that I believe in you. I'm saying if I didn't believe, I wouldn't have got on. I wouldn't have stayed on. I'm saying that I believe that what y'all are doing is going to create a movement and impact in our communities. It's going to inspire other people to stand up and go into their spaces, whether it's finances, health, or whatever, education. And they're going to say, no, I need to do the thing in my space. And once everybody starts doing the thing in their space, instead of trying to cross over into your space, then we'll be better off and we'll be much further down the line. And we need them to understand that, we can all be better. And it starts with being a giver, not a taker.
Hey, man, that's a bar, man. And I'm going to just wrap it up, man. I just want to say once again, Andre, thank you for coming on. To all our listeners who just listened to this episode, if this is your first one, I hope you really gained something from this. My brother was dropping gems. I definitely just want to say, be able to look yourself in the mirror and admit who you are, what you are, and put yourself into a box of what you want to become. That's one of the biggest things that I just learned from this podcast. And also just want to say thank you to everybody who listen, come in, week out, share this. Please just try to get this to whoever can hear, because this is going to be helpful for someone.
And y'all are all invited to come to Academy of Hope and visit the prison, talk to the guys inside. I'm saying we might be able to do a podcast live or record it live in the prison. We won't be able to broadcast it live, but we record it in the prison.
Hey, I'm with it, man. I'll definitely, because that is a mission of mine. Just how many people we can help. And you definitely got me. I'm going to work on exactly what I want, not just this is exactly what I want to accomplish.
Exactly. You might get what you asked for. There's so many people who are suffering because they asked for something and they got it. They got exactly what they asked for, and now they're sad. I want that dude with all that money is balling. I want you a side chick. Well, I just want this job, and now you got a job. I'm saying, ask for what you really want and leave room for growth.
The last gem of the pod, man.
Message.
Call me. Put this one out. If it goes well, we'll come on and we'll do part 2.
Hey, man, most
sure.
def. Appreciate you, my brother.
All right. Yeah, could you plug yourself in? I mean, you're not on the social like that, but could you plug yourself in for the people who want to follow you? And
here we go. I've got to tell you, I got a book out.
Hey, I gotta go cop that.
Ambassador of Hope.
Ambassador of Hope.
I gotta go cop that.
So it's whatever. But if you want to find me, my Instagram is @AndreNorman. My Facebook is Andre Norman. And my website is AndreNorman.com.
Book available on AndreNorman.com.
Hey, just go buy it off Amazon. Make it easy for yourself because it's just going to reroute to Amazon anyways.
Most definitely.
And,
Hey, appreciate it, my brother.
Facebook, Instagram, my website. If you go to YouTube or Google, put my name in, stuff pops up.
Hey, most definitely. Well, look, y'all please go follow my brother Tap In, and we'll be back next week. Until next time, this is Black Girl Renaissance signing out.
Peace.
I got money on my mind. I'm just trying to get some dough. I ain't picking up my line unless it's money on the phone.